Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm here with Sam. Sam, it's been a little while since we've had you on the pod. Amazing to have you back. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all good. I'm all good, especially football related, Villa related. I'm very good. I'm enjoying myself at the moment.
Yes, we've seen you've got your Villa home shirt on. I saw pictures in our WhatsApp group with your John Duran third shirt. Loving life with the kits at the minute, mate.
Yeah, man. Obviously, the home shirt had to be done. I got Rodgers on the back because I've got high hopes for him this season. And the away shirt is funny. I play football on a Sunday, and the teams are either red or blue, so you need to either red or blue shirt. And I found myself being blue for the last, I don't know, 10 weeks in a row. And as you can probably all imagine, I don't have very many blue shirts because
Yeah.
it's not my favorite coloured football shirt. But I saw that one. I was like, you know what, I can wear that. And lo and behold, I wore it tonight. So I picked up I was at Villa Park earlier. Took my son for the first time just to go and walk around it and go to the club shop. And he had a really good time. And I saw the third shirt and I was like, oh, I'm playing football tonight. I actually need a blue shirt. So that's the bills not paid for this month, but it looked
Yeah,
good. So
exactly. George, ghosting in at the far post. This is a surprise. How are you doing,
very
mate?
concert style. I like it.
Evening, lads. Yeah. I just literally decided at the last minute. I saw Sam was struggling with a restart, and I thought you might need saving. And I was going to go to bed, but I thought, nah, do you know what? We had a win. I'll come on. Why not?
The more the merrier, mate. The more the merrier. So, everyone in the chat, make sure you smash that like button. I've seen already in the comments people telling you to do it. So, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are marching on to 4,700 on the way to 5K. And if you're watching on X, follow us at Samwise1071, at Villa Park Pod, and at Fowler Legend as well. We're going to reflect on yesterday's game. Myself and Kevin did a little bit of a instant reaction yesterday, but after a day, we're going to reflect on some of the performances, talk about, I guess, the substitutions because they've made such an impact. Are they now really knocking on the door for a start? Preview the Wycombe game. Obviously, that's going to give players maybe a chance to get into Emery's thoughts. And we've obviously got our giveaway, results of our kit giveaway for those that commented on our fans forum video. We have everyone in the random name generator, so someone is going to win a shirt of their choice. George, tell us about yesterday. What were your thoughts generally on the performance in the 3-1 victory against Wolves?
I was actually a little bit late to getting the game on. I was a bit busy, but so I turned it on, I think, about 12, 13 minutes. And yeah, God almighty, that first half was a real tough watch, to be fair. I don't know whether it was a hangover from the Champions League game in the week or what, but it's like Villa were half asleep. We just spent the whole half just watching Wolves play around us, really. You know, obviously we conceded a very silly goal. Sloppy plan out the back from the moment from obviously Martinez and then Diego Carlos with that lazy ball. And fair play to the Wolves lad. He's took a full advantage in it and really rifled one past Martinez. And after that it didn't really get any better, to be fair. And I've said on our group that, you know, going in at half time 1-0, I was reasonably pleased by the sort of the domination Wolves had, but to be fair, Emery's obviously given them a right good kick up the arse at half time, because second half, second half from the hour onwards, what a transformation, because we were absolutely sensational. And eventually got our just desserts, I guess, for the domination we had in the second half. So game of two halves for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. A few people in the comments basically summing up the first half as Unai Emery did. Basically, the first half we played shit, which is exactly what Unai said at half time, Sam. And he went off early, a minute early, to prepare for the rollicking he was going to give him at half time, and it clearly paid dividends.
Yeah, I think he said it was the worst first half we've had under him in the Villa TV interview he did. He said it was the worst one. I don't know about you boys, but at the moment I'm kind of in a mindset of it didn't matter how bad we were playing in the first half. It didn't matter that we were losing, and we looked quite sloppy defensively, couldn't really string the passes together. I still very much thought we were going to win. And I guess eventually this bubble's going to burst. But I really, really felt as if sort of, and I think that's what Villa are doing at the moment. I really felt like we were going to come back and come into it. And I think in the past we've had good games against like top opposition, and then eventually I think the quality shows through, doesn't it? And you just can't kind of get away with it. And it's come full circle now. It's the other way around. We are the quality. We to quote was it Breaking Bad line? We're the one who knocks at the moment. We are the ones you have to keep out. And I'd love to have been a fly on the wall in that dressing room at halftime, because I can imagine Unai going apeshit at them. But I think whatever it is, it works, and I think they trust him. I think they trust themselves, and this is a big part of it. Last season, maybe we wouldn't have come back, but I think the squad itself, they know they're never down, they're never out, and they also know that we can bring John Duran off the bench. So,
yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. If you've got your fail safe there, you've got a second parachute just in case the first one doesn't pop. It was really, really brilliant, and another great result.
I'll tell you, saying that there, Sam. Sorry to jump in quick, mate.
Yeah.
Like obviously what you just said about us being on the other side of it now. Do you remember like with the first Premier League game when we got promoted and we were Spurs away?
And John Duran scored.
Yeah, we done really well for an hour in that game, didn't we? But we just eventually just run out of steam. Spurs brought 2 or 3 on, and they just took over. And it's kind of like you say now. We're finally now doing that 4 or 5 years down the line. Yeah, it's good to be on the other side of it. That's for sure. Yeah,
I think it's. I might be wrong, and people might disagree with me, but sometimes I think it's not even like running out of steam. I think it's just, you have a certain player like ability level. And eventually, those better teams, they'll pick you apart.
Yeah,
and
get found out.
You get found out. It's not
exactly.
I don't even think it's an energy thing, because that was the first game of the season. Everyone was hyped. They'd been running on adrenaline alone. It's just sometimes the quality you just can't shut it out. And I think that's what Villa's got now. And I'm sure we'll come on to it, Rich. But the difference is Villa now have ridiculous quality coming off the bench.
I absolutely agree. Even the fact that we were playing badly, and it was a bad performance in the first half, even maybe 50, 60 minutes wasn't great, and credit to Wolves, because they made it difficult for us. We were trying to go through the middle. We know they're a very physical side. We didn't quite have the pace down on the flanks, obviously with McGinn and Luka Dean, which is where we were going to get our joy if we could get them pulled out a little bit, get Ait-Nouri to stay out instead of coming into the midfield to make that extra man, which he was doing a lot of. So bringing Bailey on, bringing Maatsen on at half time. And we've said this before, George, having that decisive manager that makes changes at half time. Maybe it's because he's got the options. Maybe it's because he is more of a proactive manager than other ones that we've had. Maybe it's a little bit of both, but I knew that we had it in us to win the game from that losing position, but also that the manager would make the changes that were required, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, to be fair, mate, after that first half, he had to, didn't he? He had to do something, because obviously it just wasn't working, and we had no tempo about us, no sort of. It was a derby game, and there was only one team playing in a derby for that first half, and it wasn't Villa. But yeah, I thought with the changes, Bailey, he set that tempo that we didn't have in the first half. Within minutes of him coming on, he's running at them and putting them on the back foot instead of them putting us on the back foot. And yeah, he got us going up the pitch, and then he seemed to wake up. It woke up Tielemans, who wasn't very good first half, who then ended up being pivotal in the win and having a great second. Same as Morgan Rogers as well, exactly the same. Then you got Barkley, who come on and was absolutely superb. He gave us the control we needed. And I see Onana was a bit pissed off getting subbed, but Unai knows best, and it was the right sub. Onana actually did all right in the first half. He wasn't one of our.
He did. He won some tackles. He definitely did.
He done his job, didn't he?
Yeah, he did his job. I just think sometimes in those type of games where teams play this in quotes low block, basically defend deep and keep the lines quite short between them, he can't quite get his legs going, and he can't. The game was stretched against young boys, and that's where he was striding through. Same as at West Ham, where when it's tight, he probably needs to just learn to kind of move a little bit quicker. Maybe that's just not quite his game, but as you say, when Barkley came on, he just gave us that slightly different dimension. That's not to say that Onana didn't, kind of prime them for someone else of Barkley's skill to come on. So, yeah.
I'm enjoying Barkley at the minute. Like this new role that he's got since he's come back, he just looks really composed, doesn't he? Looks what he is. He looks like he's been around the block, experienced, knows how to calm a game down, keep hold of the ball. He's just a good little player, mate. And we're very lucky to have that sort of quality coming off our bench.
Yeah, 100%.
Maatsen as well, the same. Very lively when he come on.
Oh yeah, well, definitely. This is what I was going to say, Sam. I know we talked before we came on about the ability to make these substitutions, and all those substitutions having an impact. If you look at Maatsen, if you look at Bailey and Barkley and John Duran, I mean, all of them made huge impacts coming off the bench.
Yeah, I guess the argument is that a lot of players who have been coming off the bench of late have been making big impacts. And that naturally begs the question, should they start? Right? That's the natural progression from, your subs are doing really well and impacting. And I think Ian Maatsen's really unlucky because he's sort of come in to take that left back role, and Luca Dean's been pretty good actually. He's been pretty class, not just sort of the start of this season, but going back to last season. He's firmly cemented himself as a fan favourites with his another one video that he does. I'm not even going to lie. I love that. I look forward to it. Yeah. I don't know why. I just do. It just makes me smile. So I think Maatsen's one of those. He's clearly very talented, by the way, in Maatsen. Like he's clearly like a level, at the right level to be playing Champions League and playing at the top of the Prem. But he's still young. You've had players like Bogard who have been given a chance. We spoke about this before. I still don't quite understand why Nedeljkovic isn't getting a go, because
he was about to come on yesterday. Yesterday, and I think it was before we got the second goal. Maybe I can't remember if the second or the equaliser. But then we scored, and he was like, "Sit back down, son."
Yeah,
I felt a bit sorry for him, to be honest.
Well, I was about to say something crazy. I was about to say I think Ezri Konsa's wasted it right back. But I mean, obviously, he had a good day right back yesterday. But I think in general, you get the most out of Konsa when he's at centre back. And
I don't think he wants to play in there, does he? He even said as much. But I had a feeling he would still end up there quite often.
Yeah, of course. And I think Carlos, he made the mistake, and it was a stupid mistake. But he still, like the Wolves player, still had a lot to do from there. But he could have made one of three passes at that point. It was like 3-on-1. Could have done loads of stuff. And I think Konsa doesn't make that mistake. But I don't know. I guess the big glaring one is Duran. Like at what point do you take off Ramsey or McGinn and start John Duran? And he's getting harder and harder to ignore. His price tag is going up every second he's on the pitch by several zeros. He's crazy. But I think the thing I saw, I've been seeing sort of tweets coming out. Or what are they called now? Because it's called X. Are they still tweets?
Still tweets in it, I think.
It's still tweets.
Yeah. Posts, maybe.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of tweets from Arsenal fans saying, "I don't care what it costs. Break the bank. Go get him. This and that." And people, I think the other clubs were more aware of John Duran's qualities, even more so than we were. Because in the summer, I remember us all having a chat about it, and was saying, well, 50, everyone was saying, 50 million for Duran, I'll take it. And I remember saying at the time, I was like, 50 million, fine. Yeah, you can't really say no to it. But I don't think you replace him as a second striker. I don't think that 50 mil gets you anything like close to what the potential that he has and the quality that he brings. And the important goals that he scores, because he did it last season as well. So I reckon, I don't know what you boys think, but I reckon some of these players are knocking on the door. First and foremost is my boy John Duran.
Mate, I agree, and I think now he used Watkins and Duran up top for a good half an hour, and Watkins scored, I think Watkins had gone off by the time Duran scored, but they still operated quite well up front together. I think he's got that as an option now. You know, Ramsey can be replaced. Even Morgan Rogers could potentially be, and then you've got McGinn who's out for a while. You can play Watkins and Duran. I'm not saying. I mean, Rogers is incredible at the moment. I just mean it for future games. You can definitely do it, but 100% agree with you. He's now getting harder and harder and harder to ignore, and absolutely, it's in his thing. It's in his interest to make it like that. And yeah, I think Watkins and Duran could be a real scary proposition up top, George.
Yeah. The only thing, I mean, we're going at the moment. We're going on 3 fronts, aren't we? So you hope that the natural rotation of things will keep everyone happy. I know it's going to be hard because Duran's in a rich vein of form, isn't he? His profile, like Sam said, he's going up by the second. He's everyone's well aware of him now, and it's hard. But I'm not quite sure in the Premier League games. Like I think we chatted about this the other night. Do you change the system? Just to fit a Duran and Watkins in? Is it to the detriment of Watkins? Is it to the detriment of our midfield? I don't know. I mean, the proof's in the pudding there, and maybe he will have to try it to see. It's worked in 20-minute spells here a couple of times this season, hasn't it? When one's been when Duran's come on, and then eventually Watkins goes off. I guess we just have to trust Unai to work that one out. But at the moment, you've got Wycombe coming up. He should start. Well, he will start that game, I'm pretty sure. Then we've got, Bayern Munich coming up the following week, as well as another league game. Just got to try and be smart and manage the minutes, I guess.
I think my concern with Duran is I genuinely like him. Like I think he's one of the best strikers of his age around, and sort of potential is through the roof. I'm concerned about if we don't play him, the inevitability of us having to sell him, and he's not. Like, we know what John Duran's like. He's chaos and he's very sure of himself and quite clearly for good reason. It was reported, I don't know by who, someone reliable this summer, and the report basically said John Duran thinks he's better than Ollie Watkins and should be starting. Like, that's his mindset. Whether it's true or not, that's his mindset. So, at what point is he going to say, for example, if he doesn't start against Wycombe, I can imagine him just going, nah, I'm done. If you're not going to start me against Wycombe, I'm out.
He'll play that game, mate, 100%.
He'll play, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and he'll probably bang a hat-trick or something.
But this is the thing. Like, I know it's Wycombe and you'd imagine us to win really comfortably. But at the same time, you've got to remember that this is what happens when you change your whole second team and you put someone there and you play a team that isn't really the best team, isn't the first team, and you're like, oh, well, this person didn't perform the same way. And it's like, well, especially for a striker, if you don't get the same service, you're not playing the same level of players.
I know what you're saying.
It's harder for him to really, I'm sure he will score and I'm sure he'll do really well, but it is harder and people generally don't take that into consideration. But I mean, at the moment, what he's doing is working. I'm sure he's enjoying all the adoration he's getting and the media attention and the attention from the Villa fans as well. I was in the club shop this morning getting my John Duran shirt. And I felt like a bit of a sheep because I think that 4 people in front of me all had John Duran shirts as well. So I was like, oh, I'm not unique in this idea. And he'll be loving that. And I hope we can just give him enough minutes to keep him happy. And yeah, it would be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, I agree. Just shout out to Scotty for the 199 super chat. I missed that out before. Thank you so much, mate. Much appreciated. And yes, it was great to meet you too, Carly. Yesterday, you were sitting in front of me and you saw me maybe not quite as cool and calm and collected as I am on these podcasts. I'll get a little bit into the matches, but we've got to get into it. And so make sure you smash that like button and make sure you hit the subscribe button, people. We are on the road to 4,700. Aiming to get to 5K, so make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and keep your comments flowing in. We talked briefly about the substitutions, obviously, and what an impact they made. But some of the players that have some of the regulars, you mentioned Tielemans getting into the game. George mentioned Rodgers needed a bit of time to get into the game, and then towards the end was fantastic, getting a couple of assists as well. And Ollie Watkins getting back on the score sheet again, 2 games in a row. We may as well say 3 games in a row, because that disallowed goal the other day was ridiculous. But great to see those players having having such a big impact again, and particularly Watkins getting a goal again in a consecutive match.
Yeah, it's just good times all round, isn't it? To be fair, we've the only one I thought like Ramsey struggled a little bit yesterday, didn't he? After putting a good show against Young Boys, but yeah, I think confidence just breeds confidence with the rest of them. As soon as one started playing, the rest of them started playing, didn't they? And we were cutting Wolves at hope. We were cutting Wolves open, like sort of pretty, quite regularly in that second half. And yeah, it was good performances. Everyone looked good, mate.
Yeah. And do you think, Sam, it was a bit of a hangover from the Champions League game? What would you put it down to?
No, I don't think it's got anything to do with the Champions League game. I think we just started slowly. We did the same against Everton. Trying to struggle to find our rhythm, and it just took us some time to get in the game, which has not been uncommon recently. Even against Young Boys, like I know we didn't concede, but the first 15, 20 minutes, Young Boys were all over us, and we looked, like we were up shit's creek without paddle. So it's one of those, like, we have at times this season started really quickly. You think about West Ham, you think about Leicester, you think about these games where we've really shut out the blocks and looked really good. But at the same time, there are other games where we're a bit slow out the blocks. But I think the only thing you could say about Villa is come the 90 minutes, more often than not, we're where we want to be. And football is it depends at the moment. It's about 150 minutes. Yeah,
13 minutes injury time yesterday.
13 minutes injury time. But I think it's a long game, and you have to play the whole thing. I will say this though: historically, Wolves have been very hard to beat for us.
Yeah,
we've got. I've been to so many Wolves games where we're 2-0 up, or we're winning, and then we kind of throw it away. So it was nice to see it on the other side for a change, and see Villa with the 88th minute winner after that 3-2 win from Wolves. I was at Villa Park that day, and I'm not sure I've recovered from it yet, but it's nice to see it.
Absolutely. Danny also says here, have to stop conceding, playing catch up in games, and the goals we're conceding on our own. I think the schoolboy errors. Is that anything of a concern to you, George? Myself and Kev, when we did our instant reaction last night, there was a fair few people commenting on the fact that we're not keeping clean sheets, and we're having to we've come back from behind a couple of times now. Is that maybe something to be a little bit concerned about?
It's one of them, mate, isn't it? It's all right until it's not. You can go 2-0 down. You go 2-0 down every game of the season. If you come back and win 3-2, it's happy days. But as soon as we concede a silly early goal and we don't come back, it becomes a problem, doesn't it? With the goal yesterday, I thought it was pretty lazy from Carlos. But let's face it, playing out from the back like that, that's going to happen a few times a year, isn't it? It's just the way it is. You're going to have the little sloppy moments. I mean, Kamara done a few of them last year, didn't he? And put us in the shit, and it will happen. So you don't not going to lose too much sleep over that one. But we have been conceding goals. We've been conceding a lot of goals since the back end of last season, really. I mean, I see a stat up until yesterday, we'd conceded 26 goals in like our last 12 games, which, is not healthy at all, is it? But, at the same time, we're pretty potent up the other end. So we are getting away with it. But, really, if we're being truthful, the best teams, you're looking at like the Arsenals. I mean, I know they've conceded a couple today, but they're pretty much they're tight, aren't they? And it's clean sheet galore for them. So I would say we'd need to start getting back to something sort of that we were before, right before we started conceding all these goals. Because you ain't going to get away with it every week. But while we are, I'm not.
You say that, George, but last season, obviously, we conceded a lot of goals. We conceded more goals than anyone who's ever finished in the top 4.
I know, mate. Yeah,
and that was across a whole season. And the funny thing is, when Unai Emery first came in, he made us defensively
he did.
That was the trademark. We were so good at home, like we weren't conceding goals. And then I think the Tyrone Mings injury. I know that was obviously we lost that game 5-1, and it was not a good. But I think it's all kind of been downhill since then. I'm not suggesting that
Comes a
Tyrone.
partnership, innit? They were solid as anything for quite a while there.
Yeah, but
It's
we
the
wouldn't
talking, it's
score
the
him.
leadership, it's the balls into the box. Yeah.
Can I make the argument though that fine Mings might make us more solid defensively, but we wouldn't score anywhere near as many
Oh
goals.
yeah. I mean, you look at what
It's-
Pau Torres can bring. Yeah.
I see what you're saying, that boys. I completely agree, by the way. But I was going to mention it this morning on our WhatsApp group. I don't know whether it's something different about the way we're building up now, but Pau Torres doesn't seem as pivotal in our build-up as he was last season, as he has been so far this.
I've noticed this season that he's like his ball playing has been really, really like instrumental, but defensively, I think he's gotten worse than he was last season. He's so weak. Like that game against Everton, obviously, like Calvert-Lewin ran him absolutely ragged, but his balls in behind and his calmness in the possession, like everything goes through him. So as soon as Conte has the ball, the first thing he does is he passes it to Pau Torres. Like Conte doesn't really play the ball out that much; it all kind of goes through Pau. And to find those balls in the middle where Tielemans is able to turn that, like Torres isn't having to do the same kind of work he was doing last year, where he has to really drive and find like cutting edge passes. You can just give it to Tielemans, and Tielemans kind of does
that's what it is.
does the rest. But he's found like Luca Dean, apart from the Everton game where we thought maybe Luca Dean was having an affair with his missus and he just wouldn't pass him the ball. But apart from that, he's been feeding that left side, and he did it again yesterday, didn't he? To I can't remember, but it led to the goal. The ball over the top, and then kind of got knocked out. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he has to do as much work, but I don't think it's because he's not as good. I think it's just because he doesn't have to do as much.
Yeah, I just wonder whether it's a change of style how we're playing.
Little bit. I think I definitely see us slightly changing. I mean, you've got runners with Ramsey and Rodgers, who he likes to try and get into space on the half turn to run. He's got Onana, who's a different profile to what he's had before, and then Tielemans generally plays everything within one or two touches. So he's definitely looking to get quicker, and that seems to be helping us. And I think now having Bailey back fit, hopefully, when he gets up to full fitness, gives us even more potency, going forwards, because that's, if you've got a side with Rodgers, Bailey, and Ramsey, or Rodgers, Bailey, and Duran, it's a hell of a combination, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I think one thing I don't want to hear is people forgetting what Leon Bailey did last season and questioning whether he comes back into this side. Like, see, George noticed it yesterday, but Leon Bailey is just so important to this side and what we do. And I think Ollie Watkins is really sort of dependent on Bailey being there and doing his thing, because those cute little through balls that you get from Morgan Rodgers and that kind of quick, like he did it yesterday for his goal. I might as well go and talk about it, but the ball comes into him from Rodgers, and his first touch, which is something that Ollie Watkins does all the time. He actually did it against Netherlands, but his first touch takes him so wide that he kind of has to like shoot at an angle, and sometimes you need a bit of luck in football, and obviously it clips off the defender's foot, deflects and goes in over the keeper, and that's brilliant. But sometimes I think Watkins thrives more on the service that Bailey gives him. Obviously, you saw that last season with his 19 goals, but he's I will say this. I don't know what you boys think. I'm really impressed with Ollie Watkins' aerial battle ability.
Oh yeah, he's staying in the air for a long time as well. He seems to air Watkins. Yeah, it's good, man.
Really, really impressive. And obviously, he did it against Michael Keane for the Everton goal against Everton, and he did it yesterday as well. I can't remember who it was, but he's just stayed up there. I was just like waiting for him to come down. I thought maybe he'd got a box and he was just stepping on that.
Working on that in training, obviously.
Yeah, 100%. Fair play to him. Yeah.
I tell you, Rich, that sounded really Villa Park sounded really loud. I've watched Match of the Day twice now, and that Villa Park sounded really good yesterday. What was it like for you, mate?
It was excellent. Once the equaliser went in, it was fantastic. Really, really loud. There was times in that first half where it got a bit frustrating.
Of course, yeah.
The fans were a bit frustrated and a little bit quiet, but obviously the Gary Shaw situation meant that the atmosphere, the fans were still singing his name quite a lot. But I think the second half started. We started to attack with Leon Bailey, and you could see that momentum building, and I was kind of willing him to go around the outside because he was trying to cut in a few times. Then the one time he did, he crossed it in, and Watkins had that header that Sam talks about that was kind of cleared off the line. And then from that moment, then the fans kind of really, really picked up, and I think there was a couple of tackles or blocks that Wolves did that got us corners, and as the players do these days, they kind of like go to the crowd to try and get them up and stuff, and that kind of worked. And then Emery was going crazy on the sideline. You mentioned when Onana went off and he was kind of shrugging his shoulders, and Emery was like shrugging his shoulders as if to say, like, why are you doing this when you're going off? Like having a go at him, sort of thing. And I just think that general mood kind of lifted the crowd to
a little G up for everyone
to go. And Sam's exactly right. I think the vast majority of the supporters in that stadium thought, we get a goal here, we are going to win the game. It doesn't matter if it's the 60th minute, 70th minute, 80th minute, we were going to win the game. And then obviously it happened, and 88th minute Konsa gets the goal, and that's when the roof came off. But yeah, it was just a great atmosphere. And I think that in the back of fans' minds as well was the fact that Wolves have generally done well against us. Obviously apart from last season when it was 2-0, but it's generally a tough game. So I think that added to the spice of it as well. It was a really, really, really good win. And now I was just to come to this, we're now third in the table. The Man City Arsenal result, a good result for us. Are you looking at the table yet, Sam? I see you looking a little bit like, yeah, come on. But are you having any early indications as to where we might be at the end of the season? Is this encouraging signs?
I'm very aware of where we are in the table. I know from looking at it. I literally said to someone earlier, I was like, we're gonna win the league and win the Champions League. I was like, we're in the top 4 of both the Champions League table. I've got a microscope on it. When we beat Young Boys, I remember screenshotting it and sending it in the group and just saying, boys, look, we're top of the table. We're top of the Champions League table. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I don't know. I said this so many times last season. I was just waiting for the bubble to burst, and I don't know what this Unai Emery's Villa are capable of. I just don't know. I don't know where the ceiling is. I don't know where we can stop. I think you have to put it into context. Like some of our games, you've got West Ham who have had an absolutely horrible start.
Yeah.
Everton, horrible start. Wolves, horrible start. The only team who started half well were Arsenal, and they beat us. And who else have we played? Leicester again. Leicester. So look, let's be honest. We've had a fortunate run of games. In between there, we've played Young Boys who are bottom of their division in their thing. So let's put some perspective on it. Not to dampen it, but just put some perspective on it. Keep calm. We've had winnable games and we've won them, and that's important because last season, or maybe the season before, we do something like beat Man City and beat Arsenal and then lose to, or like draw to, who was it, Bournemouth?
That's exactly what we did last season, drew to Sheffield United when we could have gone top of the league.
You've got to win the games that you're supposed to win, right? That's the main thing. Win your games at home, compete away and win the games that you're supposed to win. So yeah, man, it's hard to look at the table and not get excited and see us in the Champions League and see us on TV every other week, as George said in the group recently. We become the media darlings, like Mark Goldbridge's tagline is Aston Villa are saving football, and
he loves us, don't he?
He does love us, and it's for a long. I mean, the mainstream media still can't bring themselves to say a nice word about us. Even they were doing. I watched the Champions League show, and they were doing a roundup of the table, and they were like, "Oh, Bayern amazing, Celtic really good," and then I think Villa were next, and they would just jump straight to Liverpool, and they're like, "Liverpool with." I'm like, it's our first game back in the Champions League in 40 years. Give us a minute. And they don't. But yeah, it's really exciting time. I'm just really enjoying it. I genuinely believe with this start, 12 points from 15, we've given ourselves such a good sort of push off to finish.
That's exactly what it does. Having a good start like this just means that, you're not playing catch up too much as the season goes on. And I do agree with you, Sam. Some of they're definitely winnable games, and we've made sure we've won them. We've got another one on Saturday, as on Sunday, as well, against Ipswich. That is definitely a winnable game.
Yeah,
but we have to win that. So again, it gives you a good springboard into the, I guess, the tougher game, so to speak. You know, the Man United at home, and then I think in November, George, we've got Tottenham away and Liverpool away consecutively. So that's where you're looking to get some points to really show that we are in the contention for that top four spot.
I tell you what I think. Sorry, just before George goes, I think that Man United at home game, that's going to be the true test. See if the old Villa is well and truly dead, or whether we need to hit on the head with a shovel a few more times. Because because we are a better side than Man United. I don't care what anyone says. Football wise, we are a better side. We're not a bigger club, not even close, but we are a better side than Man United. And if they come to our house and we do with them what we should be doing, I think that kind of really shows that the momentum's changed and that we're where we're supposed to be, and we really are genuinely competing. Because you can't, like, how many bogey teams and superstitions has Unai Emery thrown off? I reckon this is Man United's a massive one, and I tell you what, I'd love to beat them. I would absolutely, proper Kevin Keegan. I'd love it. Really would.
I know what George will say. I know you would love to beat him, George, but I know you're probably not thinking that it's going to happen, because typical Man United, as always, against us.
I would have to wait and see. Like everything you two boys just said there's not much I can really add to it. You know, We've had the spell of games where it looks good on paper and we've made it count and got the wins. Ipswich again Sunday, hopefully go there and get another 3 points. And then you're going into Man United and we owe them a bit, didn't we, after last year, because they kind of fair play to us. We got our Champions League, but they made a good go at pissing on it, didn't they, and ruining it for us. We were 2-0 up at Old Trafford and getting beat, then getting done late on at Villa Park, which was very, very unfortunate and unlucky for us. So, a bit of revenge, stick one up them, see what we can do against Bayern Munich. And then I think we're going into an international break, aren't we, then? And, you can settle down and reassess. And then,
can we get rid of international breaks? Can we just get rid of it?
I was just saying yesterday on the way home, I was like, we're going to get into the rhythm of the season again. And then there's another international break. It's just like, what again? But
I think how long is this injury, lad? Sorry, just to change the subject. Do we know?
Got a hammy, right? So
they said a few weeks. So it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks, I would imagine.
I think as well, the problem with the international games is, firstly, we don't have a competition for another 2 years. So, I mean, how regular does it need to be? But also, you've got all these players complaining about being tired and playing too many games, and they're playing friendlies for no reason. And for me, we're very close to full fitness. I'd say by the end of October, you'd expect everyone back. So, I mean, maybe not. Yeah, maybe Matty Cash as well, but you'd have, Philogene, Cash, Mings, Kamara back. And I'm not too concerned about when Olsen comes back, if I'm being honest. But, you've got all of these, and then that's it. You're back and everyone's good, and hopefully McGinn's back as well. So I don't want to disturb that and when you have a full squad and you're able to do the rotation, that's when I think Villa's squad size is going to help them against the likes of Arsenal and that, who don't really have massive change in the team. Like, their bench was a bit weak today. So I don't know.
Well, talking about utilising the squad, we've got Wycombe on Tuesday night. You mentioned, Sam, about Costa Nedeljkovic maybe needing some more minutes and deserving some more minutes. What were you expecting him to play firstly, and then how many other changes are you expecting across the lineup?
I don't know if I would go as far as to say I think he deserves to play. I just think, from what I've seen of him and the distinct lack of right backs that we've got, and the fact that we're making do with like Bogard and stuff, I just don't understand why he isn't. I'd be more than happy for someone to explain it to me. I can't rationalize it in my head. But yeah, I'd love to see him. I'd love to see the likes of Joe Gauci play. Obviously, John Duran, Ross Barkley, Philogene, players, Matson. Get these players. I mean, still, that is a ridiculous team. When you're talking about it, being serious, it's a great team. And I just think it's Emi Buendia. Let him come on.
Buendia will start over Philogene.
Well, you could play them both,
might not be fit, so.
I mean, you'd hope that they plays both of them, really, because where you would have Rodgers and Bailey, you just swap it out for Emi, and because Emmy's I don't really know where Emmy plays. I haven't seen him play in about 3 years. So it's yeah, it's one of those where I think you've got ability to change all throughout the squad, and it would be me personally. I don't really care if we lose because I think we've got bigger fish to fry, and I'm not all high and mighty now, and I don't care about the EFL Cup. I've never cared about the Carabao Cup or whatever it's called. The FA Cup means a lot to me. The League Cup, no one really respects it anyway, and it's like one of those things that I don't know. For me, it's just not that important. So if we go out early and save ourselves some legs and some games going up to January, then we've got such a hectic calendar already, boys. Like I reckon we could do without it. But that being said, if we can go far with these players who aren't getting lots of minutes, then why not?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I think obviously it's nice to win, but I want to balance that up with giving opportunities to players who haven't played yet. But you've just reeled off names there that if you were to put them in a side anyway, it's a good side. If you put Gauchi in Australian international, you're probably talking of Bogard playing somewhere, Nedeljkovic, probably Carlos. I don't know if Mings would be ready yet, George. I'm not sure if you would say that, but then you've got Matson, you've got Barkley, Buendia, you've got Duran, possibly Philogene. I mean, you've got maybe even Caden Young plays. He's just signed a new contract. It's still a hell of a team, isn't it, George?
Yeah. As I say, we've got some decent depth there. I'm a little bit with Sam. I'm a big traditionalist actually on the cups, and I've always enjoyed them. But while we're doing so well, and while we've got Champions League, I can see what he's saying there about we might not need it. But at the same time, with the squad depth we've got, we might need this cup to satisfy the players' needs, because there's gonna be a lot of top players there this year that ain't playing a lot of football and not starting a lot of games. So, the big clubs generally do well in this tournament, don't they? And I think if we want to be a big club like all the others, I guess we just naturally follow suit, right? And our depth squad players should do well and get through. Not in the years that have gone by, they don't, but hopefully now it'll be different.
Can I maybe postulate that we have enough games, we just don't have the willingness to rotate in the same way. For example, like Ipswich in the week, that could easily be played by, if you wanted to give someone a rest for getting them ready for the Champions League in a week. Like, you don't have to play our full strength squad. You could even start with, like, for example, start with a Duran and then bring on Watkins, or start with a Barkley and then bring on a Nana or a Tielemans. Like, they're not downgrades to the point where it should be a detriment. I think we've got the games already. Like, I don't think players are going to really love being there so that you can play League One opposition on a Tuesday night with like 4,000 people watching. I just don't think that's what.
It's only for a round or two, though, Sam. You've seen it at the Premier League teams, didn't you?
Yeah, no, it's true, but I think they'll know. Like, I think we have enough games, and there are certain opposition like the likes of Ipswich or maybe Leicester or something like that where you probably could rotate in a Matson for Dina. Do you know what I mean? Or like, we've got quality, or a Nedeljkovic for Bogard. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're obviously not like Joe Gauchi, but they're interchangeable. And I think that's the whole point, is we've got a really strong squad. And I think we need to utilize that, because if we're going to have like Prem, Champions League, and we're only going to do that same starting 11, but for injuries, that's where we're going to come unstuck, because that's what happened to us last season. We ran out of steam at the end of the season because there was no rotation. And
that's the other day, wasn't it, about the young boys game? But I think that was just because it was so early. He's kept it as it was. But going forward, I could see him changing it a bit more, like Premier League, Champions League. Yeah,
imagine if we get to the point where we beat Bayern Munich, we beat Bologna, and whoever else we have in the second away match, Bruges. So we've got 12 points. We're already qualified in the playoff round, and then he starts resting players in the Champions League.
Have you seen what Bayern have been doing, by the way? They're going absolutely nuts.
Yeah, something like 20 goals in 4 games or something stupid.
Great.
Yeah, it makes sense. Last season they couldn't hit Barn door, but this season they're going absolutely nuts. Their record is they won the game yesterday 5-0 against Werder Bremen. The game before that 9-2 against Zagreb, and the one before that 6-1 against someone called Holstein Kiel. So it's not like prolific opposition, but my God, Harry Kane.
Yeah, it's going to be a it's a scary proposition, but one that will be a special night.
We've got to hope that they try it, like underestimate us a bit and just think, oh yeah, Aston who and all that, and come and take it easy a little bit.
They've got players who know Villa though, like Harry Kane being one of them. And I tell you, who's really made his mark for Bayern since moving is Michael Elise. He's been incredible, man. We always knew he was like a top class talent, but he's been so good, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive game. On still keeping with Tuesday night, obviously Wycombe, massive night for them, George. Sky cameras there as well, 8 p.m. kickoff. There, is there a chance that they pull an upset? I mean, that's why the Sky cameras will be there. Maybe thinking it's a tough old ask for Villa. What do you think?
In years gone by, I would say yes. Of course, there's a chance. We've bloody lost. If there's a shit lower league team to lose to, we've generally done it. But I'd like to think now that them days are behind us, and we're better than that now. We've got a better manager than that. We've got more. I don't know. We just look a bit proper these days, Villa, and I don't want no more embarrassments. I remember the days of going into school and going into work, and everyone's ripping the arse out of you because you've just been knocked out by like a Division 2 team. Don't want to see that anymore. Nah, we'll be all right. We'll be too good for them, mate. I'm not going to start throwing predictions out there and looking silly, but
well, I'm going to get your predictions.
I just want to safely progress to the next round.
Do you boys reckon Chris Heck is with the Wycombe Wanderers chairman trying to negotiate on how much of the ticket price we get? Normally the Premier Leagues would just donate all the money. Chris Heck's there going, you owe us £47, mate. I want it by backs tomorrow.
We're bringing at least 1,000 over. We're filling your gate for you.
42% of all pie sales.
I've got to get.
Your fans are only going because you're playing us.
FFP, PSR. We've got to get everything we can. Sam's only bought 3 shirts this week. Come on, we need more.
Villa tax. Yeah, bad.
But yeah, I mean, we'll get score predictions in a second from everyone. Just another shout out. Make sure you smash the like button. We've got over 200 watching tonight, which is amazing stuff. Nearly 10:30 on a Sunday night. Thank you so much for your support. But keep liking, keep subscribing if you're new to the channel. Follow us on X as well at Villa Park Pod, at Samwise1071, and at Fowler Legend. And if you want to become a member, click the join button or click the link pinned at the top of the chat and follow the instructions. Just $1.99 a month to become an official Villa Park Pod follower. Just let's get your score predictions in before we do the competition winner. Obviously, Wycombe Tuesday night, Carabao Cup. Be nice to get into the hat for the next round. Then probably get Man City away, I imagine. But at least for a round, we get through. Sam, what do you think the score's going to be on Tuesday night?
I'm going to go for 5-1.
I was going to say that. How weird, man.
I still don't back us to keep a clean sheet, even against Wycombe. But I think we're going to get a bag of goals. I think everyone's going to get a couple, chip in, and maybe Duran gets a couple. So 5-1.
Nice. Yeah, I think saying the names of the goal scorers is probably a little bit difficult because we aren't sure, how many changes are going to be made. Dicky says 4-0 Villa. Sai says 3-0. Lewis says 5-0 Villa. PJJ says got to be at least 4-0. Gary said, are Wycombe any good? Well, they're 9th in the league at the minute. They just won on the weekend.
What are they in now? League One?
League One, yeah. So they've won 3, drawn 1, lost 2, scored 12 and let in 10. So definitely conceding goals. Duran hat-trick 6-0, says engine number 9. Michael says respectfully 2-0. Gary says 3-1 Villa. And Rich said only 50 likes. Come on, people, hit that like button. There we go, mate. Smash that like button, everyone. And
you have to remember that Wycombe Wanderers are playing the likes of Birmingham City, so we have to take their results into account and be like, they're not playing the hardest opposition in the world. So I wouldn't
exactly.
I'm going Tuesday, and it's going to be my 3rd trip to Wycombe. How weird is that for a team like that?
You've seen us draw 1-1 in the FA Cup.
No, not that one. I went to a friendly, and that was a 1-1 draw when we were in the early days of the Championship. And then I went to that League Cup game. Do you remember the famous League Cup game when we were 3-1 down at half time?
Yes.
1-8-3, yeah. Half of our end had left at half time, and then they missed 7 goals in the second half.
That's why you never leave early, boys and girls.
Never leave
All
early.
down our end, our end as well. I remember Stephen Davis scoring an absolute beauty. Yeah,
It was England fans who left the Netherlands game early before Ollie Watkins scored.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Criminal. You've gone all the way there. Just stay
there. It's a semi-final, for God's sake.
Nuts.
Deontay says maybe a respectable 3-1 Villa win. Chad from Villa Forever, 4-1, Duran hat-trick. And Gary says, go on then, 8-3 then. So, George, are you going to go any different to Sam, or are you going to keep the 5-1?
I'm going to have to now. I can't believe I was thinking exactly the same. No, I'll change it. I'll just knock it back to 4-1 then.
Great
Yeah,
mind.
I was going to say 4.
No, I'll go for 4. And my little tip is Buendia to score anytime.
Yes.
Gamble responsibly,
everyone.
Yeah.
There we are, on the same wavelength. And I'm gonna say 4-0 then. 4-0. I think they'll have a little go at the start, as most teams do at the minute. We get, they give us a go for 15, 20 minutes, and then we get into our rhythm. But yeah, I think we'll have too much for them. And as I say, I think most players that we could put out will be excellent players anyway. So yeah, I think we'll do very well in the game. 3-0 in first gear, says Sai. So yeah, we will obviously reflect on that on Tuesday night. We've got Talking Tactics with Gareth tomorrow. Got plenty more shows. We've got Fans Forum this time on Wednesday night, and we've got match preview for Ipswich coming up. So loads of shows to come. Let's just round off with our competition. And we obviously said for you to comment in the last Fans Forum video. We all follow the Villa. So we had quite a few entrants. So I've got them all in here. So you get a Villa shirt of your choice, and you can have a player name and number on the back. You can have it plain. You can have the Champions League badges, whatever you require. You can have all the extras on there. So can you give me a countdown, please, Sam? From 5.
From 5. All right.
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here we go. The random name is Lee Brown. Well done to you, mate. So we will get in touch with you on Twitter, or on X, or on YouTube. But well done, mate. You have won the prize. And thank you for everyone for entering. It was our 500th show. I mean, crazy stuff, boys. 500 shows that we've 503 now. So
is that since we left the team one and we started our own thing?
Yeah. I think there was maybe one video on there from a long time ago when I was messing about with it. But yeah, basically since when we left and we set up by ourselves, 500 shows. It's mad. And I looked the other day, and I think we were approaching 750,000 views on the channel, which is mad.
I can't believe it's taken me 500 shows for me to tell you this, but I actually go by Lee Brown normally. So.
I'm Lee Brown. No, I'm Lee Brown.
I couldn't be more
real Lee Brown. Please stand up.
No, that's incredible, man. I always remember, because I think George and I, our first podcast was the same one. We both came on at the same time, and it's so great to see how the podcast has sort of grown. And I know that obviously Carly mentioned earlier she saw you, and maybe you weren't on your best behavior, but it's nice.
I was relatively tame, to be fair to what I have been in the past. So
I know I've been to games with you, Rich, and you get the likes of Martin, who's lapping up the celebrity walking through the Zell,
mate. He loves it.
With his little,
last time I went with him, he was borderline signing autographs, Martin. He was loving it, offering them out.
Yeah, he just has a stack in his boot.
He's going to have signed photos, isn't he, next time?
Just like headshots. But no, I think I really enjoy coming on and talking to everyone. And I've somehow assumed the position of the pantomime villain, which is, I don't know how it's happened. I'd like to think I'm relatively reasonable, but I can be a bit sort of quick to judgment and stuff like that. But I really enjoy it, and I'm glad everyone it comes back and it keeps on enjoying it, and we're still able to do it after years now. It's been of us starting it. So good job, guys, and hope to another 500 more.
Yes, exactly. Well, that is a fantastic place to end the show. Like I said, we've got loads coming up this week. As I said, talking tactics, instant match reaction on Tuesday night to Aston Villa, hopefully going into the next round of the Carabao Cup. Fans forum, match previews, you name it, we've got it this week. So make sure you smash the like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stick with the channel. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Sam and George. And as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa.